Hey guys, so excited for this coming Sunday as we are getting into the second week of our series, either Compass or Table of Context. Both series we're going into the same ideas of just basic biblical exegesis, which is a very fancy Bible college way of saying how to read the Bible. Last week we got into the idea that if you simplify all of the Bible into one purpose, one reason that it exists so that we can know God, so that we can begin to know God, is probably the best way to say it. And this week we're going to get into the idea that sometimes it's hard. Sometimes reading the Bible is just difficult. And what we're getting into is we're essentially going into the idea that context, understanding the immediate context of something, understanding the biblical context of something, or the historical, cultural context of something, is what brings clarity. Context is what helps us understand what's going on. And so how we're even going to start talking about this is last week, since we said the Bible is to let us know God, then this week we're going to start off with the book of Esther. Esther, God never gets mentioned, at all. It's easy to see him in it, see him working in the background, but he never gets talked about. And so we're going to use that as the idea of if the Bible is all about us getting to know God, then why is there a book in the Bible that never mentions God? And that's going to be our jumping off point to talk about this idea of the meta narrative throughout all of Scripture from Genesis to Revelation. What's the story that the Bible is trying to weave, and how does Esther fit into that, even though it never mentions God? And so what we're going to be landing on and really pushing our students to is this idea that context isn't something that we just inherently understand. Oftentimes it takes somebody else coming alongside us and saying, oh yeah, well remember, this was written to a bunch of Romans in the first century, and that's why the book of Ephesians is doing this, or whatever that context might be. It's not something that we inherently just have. And so what we're pushing kids to is that we have a Bible reading plan. It goes out in our newsletter that corresponds with every sermon series that we do. And we want them to be reading that with somebody. Somebody might be you. That somebody might be a friend. It might be somebody else within your group. But that's where we really want to land with this, is go read Scripture with somebody else that can help you understand the context. And so that's where we're going with it. I'm really, really excited. I think that this is a really important topic that just doesn't get talked about very much. And so I think it'll be really, really good. Thank you guys for trying out Convos. I so appreciate it. I loved getting to hear some of your feedback. I know that I only spoke with a few of you. So if you and I haven't had the chance to talk, or even if we did, please put all of your feedback into GroupMe. Anything that you mention might spur up a thought from another volunteer. We can all help each other come to great solutions. We can all be brainstorming, oh, this is a problem, but what if we did this? If you mention something that you're seeing as problematic, another volunteer will probably have a much better solution than I do. So please, any feedback that you have about Convos, drop that in this chat. Let's really talk through this. And by the end of October, by the end of this series, we'll know if we're going to move forward with this, if we're going to leave it behind, or if we're going to integrate some sort of mixture of both things. So please keep giving just a ton of feedback with this. I really, really appreciate it. And the last thing I wanted to let you know is I'll have the sermon posted below. I won't have the small group leader guide because we're using Convos, but Convos will be up to date on Thursday. I will drop a message in GroupMe to let you guys know when it is all geared up and ready for you guys to check that out before Sunday night. So, guys, everything being said, I love getting to serve with you. This past Sunday, we had, I think it was 50 something kids, which is amazing. It's the most that we've had on a regular Sunday night since February or March last year. And that's all because of you. The thing that I was thinking about is we've only got a couple of sixth graders coming in. We lost at one of the larger classes of seniors since I've been here, and yet we're still growing. Yet the student ministry is still getting bigger. We're growing over 10% of our adult congregation, which is an awesome statistic to be hitting if you're a youth ministry growth nerd. But that's not because of what I'm doing. That's not because my teaching has gotten suddenly better or we're throwing much better events. I think our events have gotten better, but it's because of you. It's because you're leaning into these relationships and you're caring about these students and you're creating a space that is so rich, and at the same time it is so welcoming that students want their friends to be a part of it. That's amazing. You are perfectly striking that balance to where kids know I'm loved, I belong here, and I want others to belong here as well. And guys, that is so incredible. Thank you for what you do. You being here, you caring for these kids. It's growing this ministry. It's growing opportunities. And this is the big thing. Forget the size of the ministry. The big thing is it's growing opportunities for students to come to know Jesus. So thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. I love getting to serve alongside you. I love getting to push towards this goal of students knowing Jesus. And I cannot wait to serve with you this Sunday night.